Get ready, Chiefs Kingdom, to unleash your passion and excitement for all Chiefs content. With the up-and-coming sports media company giving you all of the Chiefs coverage. We are raising the decibels and embracing the community of Chiefs Kingdom. Elevate your fandom and join our team who loves your team. Red Kingdom Media.
Welcome to the Week 5 edition of the Red Kingdom Media Live post-game show. I am your host, Clinton Petrie, and joining us right now for the time, and we'll see about later about our pal Dale, but Lonnie is here. What's up, sir? How are you doing?
Good. Happy to be here after this Chiefs dub. I feel like we played pretty good. Got out of there with a win. A good win on both sides of the ball. Ready to talk about it, break it down some.
Same here. I think personally, I felt like we kind of barely escaped. There were periods of time where the offense or the defense looked like they were doing their jobs, and then other times both were having their pain and struggling points. So it's not good when both sides of the ball decides to, take a step down and play. But I think each side did just enough in the right moments to walk out of here with a victory, and all of that coming with a very, very scary moment for Chiefs fans.
For sure.
So that MetLife turf nearly got one Travis Kelce, who was already on a bad leg from his hyperextension before week 1. And of course, we get to know now that it was just more of an ankle roll, and it's not as bad as it looks. But at that time, there wasn't a soul who didn't think that was an Achilles injury until he started to stand up and try to run on his own.
Yeah, I would say I'm not sure about the Achilles, but I just know I did kind of see him roll it, but I just didn't know it was non-contact. He didn't have any contact. Anytime you see a non-contact injury on turf, that's never a good situation. So we know we didn't. That's something we don't want to see. We definitely all were holding our breath there.
Yep.
He didn't come out with the team in the second half, and then to start seeing all the tweets go out where he came out. Right, he's jogging on the field. So it was definitely a time where we were holding our breath, trying to just hopefully get out of here, win against this turf. We played 2 turf games. Hopefully, I think these are our last 2 turf games of the year. Hopefully, so we got out of there unscathed. We have a little injury to Trav. Looks like a high ankle sprain, whatever it may be. He
Right.
just needs to get in and nurse it before Sunday night. It's going to be sore. Thursday night, we got a short week, a quick turnaround. So let's just see what he can do and if he can get nursed back to health.
Yep. My thought was they're not even going to push him back into this game, knowing that they're going to play a division game 4 days from now. And, we could say what we want about the Broncos and the fact that they lost to the Jets today, but they're still an NFL football team, and Andy Reid in the press conference will say they're a good football team no matter what. So I almost just considered they were going to sit him completely, knowing that they have to go and play a game here in 4 days. They're not going to get their normal Monday and Tuesday off to rest and relax at home. They're probably rushing to still get a flight out tonight so that they can technically be back in Kansas City by Monday and still have all the normal practices and meetings they would have, intermixed with the recovery schedules for a post game.
Yeah. Anytime you have that quick turnaround, for sure, you have to just figure out ways to be successful. And I think Andy Reid has kind of mastered that. They smash everything in probably a 1 week and kind of get everything in there quick. So I think we shouldn't have any problems there. I don't think Travis will have any problems there. Nursing himself back to health. Now it's about how many snaps he will play. I'm not sure. I don't really want to speak as far to that point because I can't see that far yet, being that we're just coming off of this game. But I can see him playing and maybe limited. He may be sprinkled in here and there, just because it is going to be hard coming back from the injury. I'm not going to expect him to just be 100% Travis when we play the Broncos. So we're going to have to have some other guys step up like they did. Justin Ross, Rashee Rice, Kadarius Toney got some touches, Noah Gray. But we sprinkled a lot of guys in there, MVS. And then
Justin
good old
Watson.
reliable Trav, Justin Watson. And then good old reliable Trav came in to show reared his head like he always does, even though he had the injury. So I feel like we mixed it up as much as we ever did all year this year, which is I'm excited to see. And I just want to see where we go moving forward, being that we have all these guys involved.
Yeah. Travis ends up finishing the game with 10 catches, which is twice as many as anybody else on the team. And that's us considering he shouldn't even go back into the game, and he missed, a whole complete quarter of football and half of another one. So this offense runs the best when Travis Kelce is near or at his complete best. It took some miracle plays, like some Justin Watson catch, like his only 2 catches, man, but they were incredible catches. And Rashee Rice is becoming the most reliable wide receiver target on this team, which is saying a lot for a rookie in an Andy Reid offense. And we had also mentioned Kadarius Toney as maybe this would be a game that he comes back and steps up. He was definitely trying to make big plays, and he seemed magical when he had the ball, but he wasn't the primary focus. So I wonder if we're going to get any games specifically designed for Kadarius Toney to feast.
Yeah, I think they really just want to start keeping him healthy. It's more about keeping him healthy. But yes, he was definitely featured a lot. He had 5 catches, the most in the as far as the wide receivers go. Now we know that a lot of those were extensions of the run game, being pop passes and passes behind the line. But I still liked it, how the way in which he was used. I did, like you said, I definitely want to see if we're going to get him more involved into the game plan, if he can stay healthy. I like to see, we tried to dial up some shots to him. We didn't get it, but there was some different things underneath that they're opened up. It was like for Trav, it was on a shot play I seen. So I like it. I like how we mixed everything in. I even like the 2 chick catches and almost 3 that Justin Ross had, even being used on that inside route. You being used on the outside on the go route, so he was able to show that big body, what he was able to do a little bit in college, which is go up and get the ball. I like to see it. I like to see it a lot. I want to see MVS involved more, but I feel like it's just kind of writing on the wall for a guy like him. Seeing all these other guys step up and get involved, it's just you'll kind of get lost in the flow there. So I hope he can step up and find some different ways to get involved in the offense.
Yeah. Good to see Justin Ross get some real snaps in an NFL game. He got that drop, so hopefully he got his drop out of him, just like all the other receivers on this team had to do a couple of weeks back, and we'll see if any of that continues. But he looked like a great target for Mahomes at a time when nobody else was really doing their part, and maybe in certain games, we'll see more of Ross if it's a good matchup, maybe on a smaller corner or a slower corner if he can beat him over the top. So I'm waiting for the Kadarius Toney breakout game. Everyone talks like wide receiver 1, and he still probably gets classified as it, but I mean, his production isn't quite there, and the use isn't what I would say is a wide receiver 1. Justin Watson is killing it as that. Just put me out there, and if Mahomes throws it to me, I'll come down with it. And that's about it. And I think Marquez is I am the big, tall receiver, and I can block. And that's about the only reasons that he's kept out there is for those running plays.
And I wouldn't say that. I would just say I feel like he's definitely a burner. We've seen Marquez get behind the defense before. I just feel like Justin Watson is running a lot of those routes now, and Mahomes is giving that trust to him. And he's coming down with the balls. MVS gets a lot of those plays, but he doesn't always come down with it. His hands aren't always reliable. And I feel like Justin Watson has kind of fit that role and took in that spot. And then if Justin Ross can continue to be that and have success, and play that same position on the outside, I feel like MVS is just going to slowly be waned out. Because that's kind of what he was brought in to do, and he's not able to do that at a high level as what he was going in last year. So it's not good. I don't like seeing it, but it's definitely looks like it's happening. And just want to see if they can get him involved in different ways. They may be able to get him involved more in the screen game and just different things like that. Just dialing him up in different ways, but it's definitely looking like KT is going to be that guy as long as he can continue to he's going to get touches from Andy Reid. We know he was a pop gadget guy, but this is a guy that has a tremendous amount of talent. He has a tremendous amount of strength in his legs. Fights, doesn't let the first man get him down rarely ever. So I definitely believe he is wide receiver number one. He just has to stay healthy and continue to produce at the level he's producing at. Or produce today, because he hasn't produced at that level really all season, but the level he produced at today, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'm ready to pretty much see Rashee Rice in a near full-time role or on those definitely passing downs, because he seems to be a reliable target, and like you catch him on a slant or just curving away from the defender, he's getting yards and then some. And he finally got in the end zone with that move after a couple weeks ago, getting stopped at the one twice. So good for him. I think Marquez, his time is limited here. You would have thought that you would see some more production after like the end of the AFC Championship game and the call he got in the Super Bowl. You would have thought that he and Mahomes would be on this really good chemistry and things would just be working for them. But he's kind of just put in a placeholder role, I'd argue, to just kind of take a spot on the offense. And if we kept 7 wide receivers, I think we want our wide receivers to be catching the ball. So whichever ones are catching need to be on field. So I'm in favor of the Rice. We'll see if Ross can prove himself in the next coming weeks. And the Tony effect, we'll see when and if he breaks out and he starts to feel good after dealing with injuries early on. I guess last point I'll make is, man, Sky Moore just can't get involved in this offense, can you?
Unfortunately, it's one you don't want to see, but I feel like it's just going to be mixed up. I don't think we need to start kind of putting jackets on the wide receivers. I feel like it's going to be a different guy every day. Every time he throws the ball, they said he's throwing it to as many wide receivers in his career ever before.
Right.
As much as he does now. Travis is kind of the one that is favored. Like he said, he threw almost 50 touchdowns to Travis so far over the span of the time that they've been together. So I wouldn't say that. I just feel like it's going to be a different guy every day. Sky's going to have to show which ways he can be effective. I feel like when you see that type of touches and those type of things sprinkled out throughout your wide receiver room, it's like who's going to be a dog and who's going to step up and want more touches and see that moving forward and be like, no, I'm going to separate myself from the rest of the pack. So I feel like this leaves for the rest of the wide receivers to be hungry. Who's going to step up? You see he's going to spread the ball around. He has no favorites. There are no favorites here. The only one that'll get 10 catches is Travis. So everyone is going to have to – you're going to have to step up and figure it out and make yourself effective for Mahomes.
Yep. Lastly, in terms of the receiving, I'll say that Noah Gray looks pretty well. And again, he's got that Sky Moore knock that he's just not getting enough targets and he's not the main focus of the offense. But I think he's done a very admirable job in the Mahomes, in the Kelsey replacement. And when he and Kelsey complement each other, that's what allows him to get those wide open routes like we saw last week against the Jets. Otherwise, the rushing game, Pacheco still got the most carries, even though in the first quarter we were arguing that this was trying to be the Clyde Edwards-helaire show. And every other run was 1 yard a carry, 1 yard a carry, 1 yard carry. And that's what his average was after those 3 carries. So thankfully, it was Pacheco and McKinnon going forward, and McKinnon got more involved in the passing game, getting a couple I think more than one screen pass to him. So what'd you think of the running backs this game?
Yeah, like you said, the 1 yard to carry with Clyde. It's unfortunate he just didn't have a good day today. Hopefully we can see him bounce back with that. But yes, Pacheco was running like a madman. I feel like in the first quarter we kind of went away from it. We probably should have stuck with that. But nevertheless, it looks like they had a game plan and they were trying to stick whatever the plan was. And I know they kind of been just doing it by committee there. We had some injuries in there. Jet is a vet. He's been injured before. He's been dinged up on past teams. So you just kind of want to ease these guys into that. You don't want to just so much throw a whole bunch on their plate as far as the running back goes. We know that they take a lot of hits. They get hit almost every play. So I feel like they did what they needed to. They sprinkled it in there throughout. I feel like we could have stuck with it a little bit more with Pacheco, gave him a couple more touches and just really put him over the top and let him kind of carry us home. But I feel like they did what they could do with Pacheco. I like that they use him in a short yardage, and he's not fearing anything. He's trying to run through everything, and he's running mad, and I love it. So I love everything about the running game right now.
Agreed. The only issue is that they weren't doing it enough, and then they got away from it in the second quarter and beginning of the second half, and then you saw the Vikings able to stop them on those running plays where even Pacheco could only get 1 or 2 yards. So it's one thing to be killing the run when the defense is not expecting it, but when they are expecting it or to have their tells or they're ready for it, then we saw his yards average go down. But he was able to close it out towards the end of the game when the Chiefs got the ball and were able to close it out.
Yeah. And I really like that as far as just really trying to, when it's time to really lock the game down, as far as what we want to do, we got to be able to run that ball. You got to be able to run that rock. You got to be able to really have those good situational guys that know what the situation is and what needs to be done. I feel like Jet and Pacheco have been good at that. Not so much Clyde. And like I said, I feel like Clyde's bad reps outweigh his good reps because anytime he does good, we don't really notice it. So, but definitely want to rely on those guys.
So they ended up with 21 rushing attempts and 31 passing attempts. So a little over 33% more passing versus running. I'm more of in favor of, a 24, 27, 28 receiving.
Yeah. What we rushed the ball more?
No, we threw the ball 10 more times than we rushed. That's probably a trend that Andy Reid tends to do if the game is there, or if we're playing from behind, we'll obviously see even more passing yards get added there.
Yeah.
But I'm in favor for those numbers to narrow a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely could sprinkle some more runs in, but we just all know that Andy Reid's philosophy, basketball on grass, as people like to say, he likes to throw that ball. So we definitely could see different there. But as long as I feel like Pacheco is running hard, not all our running backs run like that.
True.
We can't hand it off 30 times a game to each one of those guys because everyone is not going to get 5 yards a pop. But Pacheco is running like he wants to get 5 yards a pop, almost at 10 yards a carry almost. So this guy he's running like a madman. I feel like we just need to feed him.
Yep, absolutely. And we saw him come down with a pass. So hopefully they get him more involved in the passing game as well, so it doesn't look like he's one-dimensional, and if he's in the game, it's only running the ball, and then the issue of the run is coming, so he doesn't get to be that explosive, dynamic runner if he doesn't have that slight element of surprise or that what do I want to say? The like half step behind that a defense tends to do against an Andy Reid offense with Patrick Mahomes at the helm.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I don't think we got anything else to really cover for the offense.
I just want to say this too. Mahomes played better, a lot better than the Jets game. He wasn't really missing too bad in that game, so it wasn't a lot of guys that were missed. I feel like he hit his wide receivers, kind of redeemed himself. So I did just want to touch on that. When bad, but even when good players play bad, we want to give them their flowers. When they play good, he played it. Hats off to Mahomes. He played a better game than what he played against the Jets, and got us to win.
Definitely, and he also got his ankle rolled up again on another dang play. And this was really bad. This was like three rolls and one roll, and he was limping. So our quarterback is tough because this is happening every game, and every time it looks like as bad as the QB sneak was.
Yeah,
but he just keeps toughing it out.
Yep, and that's the NFL for you. You gotta grit through some injuries sometimes. You're gonna get banged up. Nobody's gonna be 100%. So it's all about who powers through, and who has success when they do that.
Yep. Before we pivot, I'll just say that Dale was gonna hype up Travis Kelce and his return. He said he was gonna. He still looks like he's lost a step, but he came back in the game that second half a lot more explosive and, like, I guess, playing with anger and purpose, and it showed. So maybe he's got to go through moments like that. Ever since that injury early on, he's got to take a beating for a bit so he can get fired up, so he can deliver in the more important crunch times.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if he has to get beat up, but I would just say he definitely has to kind of just, I don't know what he needs, but he can't miss guys. I wouldn't say he needs to get beat up because I feel like those hits, all of that little stuff takes a toll. But
yeah,
I feel like he needs to definitely just kind of just make sure he's always aware and he's alert. I feel like Mahomes sometimes gets in a daze. He can start playing lackadaisical and let his footwork start getting lackadaisical. So I feel like he needs to try and stay on point, stay sharp. And I feel like that's how the Chiefs just need to play, period, moving forward. The first job is kind of indicative of what they need to do moving forward in the season.
Yeah. Once they started getting everybody involved, and it was a run, and they actually were ready for this pass and spreading the ball around, and we're playing well balanced. They look unstoppable. I don't care who they go against, especially if this defense has any sort of confusion going against this offense. We saw it in the Super Bowl. If they don't have every square inch and every single player covered up, then Andy Reid's going to find him, and he's going to get him for 6.
Yes, for sure. He'll find a way to get you in the end zone and find that mismatch for sure.
All right, let's go ahead and pivot to the defense. We saw Chris Jones get his 1 sack towards the middle of the game, and then the Mike Dana sack to close the game. Let's see who got the third. That's right, Leo Chenal and a linebacker blitz in the first quarter. So what was your impressions of the defense?
Yeah, I feel like the defense definitely played up to par on this game and kind of submitted themselves and showed that they are going to be a top 5 defense this year, a defense that we can count on. They did have some lapses, but I feel like that's going to come with the game. Where this is the NFL, we don't expect everybody to be bums the whole game. So I feel like we definitely played up to par. Our secondary played super good, holding Jay Jettis to whatever we held them to. I think it was like
3 receptions for 28 yards.
3 receptions, 28 yards is tremendous on a guy that goes for 150 against every secondary. So I
No
just
kidding.
hats off to those guys. We gripe on their secondary for so much and so long, but hats off to Snead, really just putting in some work there. Hats off to that whole defense for really just what they did and the moxie they showed in that secondary. I know that they're young, they are coming off of a Super Bowl, but I feel like that just shows right there that they have arrived for sure.
Yep. It was an up and down. Sometimes they get their moments. Sometimes they were getting beat up or whatever the case, but they just kept fighting till the very end. Are you ready to be on the pay L'Jarius Sneed train? Do you think this does anything to Brett Veach at all? Is this a convincing that you maybe got the, if not number one, a reliable, really good quarterback tandem?
Yeah, so I think we do, for sure. Just as far as like Andy Reid said, he felt like in training camp the windows got tighter. The coverage was a little bit better. Anytime, like I said, the one thing you don't want to give a corner and anybody in that defense is confidence.
Right.
And I feel like those guys are having confidence. They're probably riding sky high now. They do give up some big plays. They gave a big play to Lazard last week, but I feel like they can figure it out. They're definitely going to be one of the best one of the best moving forward. Having a good day like that against L'Jarius Sneed is like second to none.
Yep, I was hoping they'd get an extension done prior to this, and I think they have such a good tandem, especially because they're the yin yang, right? Sneed is the bump and run man corner that's gonna beat up, and we saw him get a couple flags, I think, for being a little too rough covering Justin Jefferson. But that's the nature of playing cornerback. So we have this like dynamic duo of Sneed being this really good man defender and McDuffie being this really good zone slot defender, that when you can find a way to get them both utilizing their strengths, it can do some really good things for the defense. And letting the linebackers on this team make plays. Saw Drew Tranquil in coverage and get a stop on a throw by Kirk Cousins this game that last week Zach Wilson makes that throw and it's completed. So
absolutely,
maybe I'm not trying to start anything or insinuate anything, but that was a good defensive play versus a good quarterback play. So, we'll keep going here. Just Justin Reed and Brian Cook. How'd you feel about the safeties?
Yeah,
and Mike Edwards too.
I feel like safeties did good, especially in that secondary. Mike Edwards is a ball hawk for sure. He finds a way to get his hands on ball and get around the ball. He definitely just figures it out as far as the ball goes and just where to be. He's just savvy. You could tell he's one of those guys that really is starting to put everything together in the secondary. It looks like he's going to be that guy that creates turnover as well. So I really just like what I'm seeing from Mike Edwards.
Yeah, for sure. He looks like he's an underrated sighting, just like Drew Tranquil. Like Brett Veach is really good at these free agent signings where you have to be really into football to know the names because the contracts just aren't remarkable and they're not the big market contracts that the AFC West gave out, the other 3 teams. And all those players got traded, so the other teams were paying most of the money back for that. So Brett Veach is remarkable at finding talent and getting his coaches the right players for the situations he needs. So good on Drew Tranquil for stepping up this game. I think Bolton was trying to come back for this game, but wasn't able to.
Yeah.
Now entering the live stream, our pal Daily Dale. What's going on, bud?
What's up, bro? How everybody doing?
Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good.
Talking some defense.
Talking some defense right now. What we talking about?
Pretty much went down the line, hyped up the Snead and McDuffie. So I'll ask you the same question. Do you think Snead's done enough to have Brett Veach hand him a multi-year contract for his performance?
Of course he earned it in my honest opinion. I think he did a great job on all the number one wide receivers that he faced so far, and he
Mm-hmm.
had another great matchup against one today in Justin Jefferson. Now I know that we saw a couple questionable calls that was like, okay, I mean this was kind of a touchy type of situation, especially with that illegal contact. But other than that, I mean he did his part on like a 3rd and 7. He was able to really extend himself out, caused an incomplete pass, almost intercepted it as well too. So I mean, he just showed he can play at an elite level. So he does deserve that contract. But the real question is, will Kansas City actually pay it out?
Right. Yep. He held JJ to 3 catches and 28 yards. Do you think we can replicate that performance against the Jamar Chase or anybody else along the caliber of those types of wide receivers the rest of the season?
I think we can, just because I feel like we got better play in the back end as well too. Someone I said that has been an underrated signing so far for me has been Mike Edwards. He's someone who's a ball hawk and he plays the ball very well. So just having that protection on the back end when you're involved in those one-on-one situations, what we saw like in previous years seems like our safeties wasn't able to get over there to just make a play on the ball in those situations. But like right now, what I'm seeing from both Brian Cook and him as well, along with Justin Reed, who has been more physical, honestly, they've been doing pretty good. So I can't complain. I love what I'm seeing. And I think they can actually do this against Bengals, against a Jamar Chase, who had a big game today. And also, I think we can see some happen against the Miami Dolphins, who we'll be seeing in a couple weeks as well too.
I was gonna say, do you think that Snead is a good matchup against our old familiar number 10? I mean,
That actually might be that might be someone you want on him, just because of him being familiar with Rick in those those situations in scrimmage, being a former teammate and just matching up against him. He knows a couple tricks that he'll likes to do when he out there on the field. Now, are you going to actually stop him the entire game? No, but are you going to make the plays when it matters? I think they're going to give up a lot of the underneath, because right now what we've been seeing from the defense, they've been firing off. Once they see someone with the ball, they're actually attacking. It's not a delay at all. They're getting right there. We've been seeing that with the DBs all year. So I think we can work it out with that. It's just on the back end when he goes on one of those routes that we've seen him do with us before, where he can just make something up and he gets open and Tua finds them. Will that happen? And I think we've been doing good with not letting stuff get behind us. So I he'll get his money, but I think we'll do enough to win the game and keep it tempered. You know what I'm saying? Keep it down, not let
gotcha.
Tua go away with it.
Yeah, I like that too, but I'm not sure what as far as keeping them under wraps. But I know Snead likes to get his hands and beat up on people, and I wondered if he can beat up on Tyreek. Tyreek is smaller, undersized, so I feel like that'll definitely be the plan. It's going to be a lot of running, a lot of motion, so we'll just see. I feel like that's going to be a test right there. That's where he really earns his money at. If he can kind of hold those guys at bay, because those, like I told Dale, those has kind of been the best wide receivers in the league as far as right now goes.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Anything else from the defensive standpoint? I mean, Mike Dana was the closer we mentioned, and Chris Jones got his sack earlier in the game, and Leo Chenal got that linebacker blitz early on too. But other than that, we didn't see a lot more pressure from this defensive line. Do you think the Vikings O line is just one of the best ones, or do you think we were just struggling this game?
Go, honey.
Yeah. So it's you can go, Dale.
Okay. So can you say that question for me one more time?
Do you think the Kansas City D line struggled this game because they just didn't play their best, or do you think that the Vikings O line is worth something and that's why they had a tough time?
Nah, I really think we didn't get the best effort. Honestly, what we've been seeing in the beginning of the season was we were getting pressure off of just those blitz packages as well too. But you can tell that they was actually focusing in on Chris Jones. They actually mentioned that earlier in the game, to where right now, when you see it on multiple plays, they weren't letting Chris Jones out of their sight. He has
Nope.
been doubled throughout the entire game, especially in the interior part of the line. And we
Right.
just didn't see those matchups one on the outside with Karlaftis and Mike Dana more often. Now we did get that game winning sack, like we mentioned earlier, but at the same time, it just wasn't what we were seeing in the first couple of weeks. And you can tell that this defense is built off of that, trying to get pressure with that front four and allow our defensive backs to actually gather and make a play against those opposing wide receivers. So wasn't the best effort. A couple times I did see out there when later in the later parts of the game when we're attacking Kirk Cousins more often, I did see a couple of pressures from Felix, and I see something coming with him as well too. I think we
Hmm.
probably see him more out there a lot in those situations to where George Karlaftis is probably not winning in those power rushes, so maybe get speed on the edge to really just push the pocket and make Kirk Cousins move up. That way, you give advantage to a guy like Chris Jones to attack then. But just not the best game from them.
Hmm.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the same thing. Just not the best game. We got to figure out some ways to get Chris freed up, get some free rushers at the quarterback, other than just sending blitzes and things like that.
Right.
You're gonna have to get creative in there somehow, some type of way. But yeah, it's not the best game for the D line whatsoever. We all know that, but hopefully we can kind of bow up and beat up on a bad Denver team that's coming to town.
Agreed. And on a short week too, when they just got upset by the
Yep.
Jets as well. I think for me, I guess on the D line, I think Derek Nottie. He's
Hmm.
done. He's done his thing. He's the run stopper, and that's his job. And
Yep.
a couple years ago he was struggling, but this year he's really doing well. If I see a run and I see Derek Nottie in the vicinity, it's really close to the blue line. So
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very, very good job from him this game, and we'll see if that continues going forward. I know we've talked like, oh, what is that worth? But I mean, if he could be a reliable player for a defense, I
Hmm.
mean, heck, him and Mike Dana, if they can prove to be like the, you know, just good enough supporting cast, maybe they can earn a modest
Yeah.
secondary contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those where he's going to test the market and see what other teams are talking about. But, if it's not talking more than what the Chiefs are actually offering up to him, it's going to be, why would I go somewhere where I won 2 championships with them? And
Right.
actually, throughout his time here, like each season, he has gotten a lot better. And we saw him actually in on a lot more sacks as well, too, something that he was struggling with that. He was always been a guy who always stalemate with the opposing, well, with the interior offensive lineman. He never gets like pushed badly, but the
Mhm.
thing is, like you're saying right now, it's like he's able to get off of that blocker very, very well, a lot quicker and actually attack the ball more. And he's making key stops and really
Mhm.
being energetic and also just playing through the play as well too, not stopping, not getting flat-footed, just trying to keep on going, and that helps you a lot, especially in situations to where our defensive backs is giving us the opportunity to get a cover sack. So
Mhm.
he's doing a lot better. Of course, if I don't think we'll see him probably in the double digit range of per year anyway. So if he get a couple million more somewhere else, that's when you'll probably see him probably move on. But other than that, we'll see how that goes once the off season comes.
Okay. I think I'm hoping for that next step from George Karlaftis, and we got that little
Yep.
tiny taste at the beginning of the season, and
Yep.
haven't really seen him much on the stat sheet since. So
Not much. Got a lot of pressures, a lot of good grades from PFF, but we want that to calculate to some sacks
right,
going forward.
that's right. Anybody else on the defense you want to highlight?
I'm sure y'all talked about McDuffie earlier.
I mean, we kind of combined that into the Snead and
Hmm.
McDuffie that I think both
Hmm.
did their job, and that more translated to the hey, should Snead get a paycheck from here and be? But how did you think of Trent McDuffie's performance?
Honestly, after that penalty, I know a lot of people was like, what happened? Seems like it's gonna be that type of game from him. But honestly, he was solid. He made his plays as well too. I mean, once a receiver had the ball, he didn't let them go anywhere else after that. Not a
Mm-hmm.
lot of yak coming off from him. But I do want to highlight that moment that we had at the end of the game where I think it got to either Jordan Addison or number 17. Excuse me if I don't know your name, sir.
I believe
Nothing
that is the
personal.
KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne could have been him. But after he caught the ball, and then he was going to go out of bounds, and that was like when the time was running out. That was just a great hit by him in that moment, just because it allowed for the clock to keep on running with a team that has no timeouts. So
Right.
just him being able to fire off like that, we've seen in the past to where we had some lackadaisical tackles and poor effort from our other DBs. I like to see that in a moment to where you maybe have given up a first down, but you're able to still stay on top of that. And what you did resulted to them having to, try to still clock the ball and move downfield. It kept the clock running, so that gave the advantage to the Chiefs defense. So I want to apply him for that. I think the defensive back group in general, they played solid. I know in moments this is a better wide receiver group that we've seen in the past games, but for what they have done, and Kirk Cousins staying under 300 yards as well passing, I'm satisfied with it. And then you were able to hold Justin Jefferson. And with us just being aggressive, it caused some issues with him as well, too. Never wish on an injury. Hope he gets better. But just staying physical, that's how you knock someone out like that who can play at that type of caliber of play. You want to be able to stay physical with them. Now we took that factor out of it. Now he has to rely on those younger options. Will they be able to, be smart in the moment and understand certain situations? So that's how the Chiefs got the advantage off of that. So still helped them to 20 points and under. So I'm glad about that. Poor defense, I would think so far. I honestly like what I seen last week against Jets, opposed to what I saw this week. But at the end of the day, they weren't the reason why we lost the game. We didn't lose the game. We're able to win. So
that's right. Yep, we survived. Every game has to be a survival. One team or one side of the ball struggles, the other side has to struggle. It can't be, one side is picking up for the other. The offense and the defense allow nothing or score every time, and then both have to flip, and they're getting scored on and they can't score back. So,
and we could just be criticizing them a little bit more as well too, just being the fans who've been watching this team forever and just wanting to set that expectation of just having a flawless game throughout on both sides of the ball. So I mean, of course, we're going to highlight the great things they did as well too, but at the same time, what keeps us great, I feel, is we hold our team accountable. And I think with them here now on social media sometimes as well too, they play into that, even though the game plan is going to be the game plan. But I feel like they know and understand, like, Kansas City, what we know about our fan base, we know ball. We understand. We don't care if we won a lot of games. We don't care about the other Super Bowls that we have won. Yeah, we're going to use that against people that argue with us and try to talk down on the organization. But when it comes to like talking within the fan base, we don't hold anything back when we feel like some guys, didn't play to the standard that we expecting them to play to.
Agreed. The rest of this month is going to be a test to see how well the team is ready, because it's one thing if they play so against either an NFC team or an AFC team that's not relevant, but your division rivals, those are the games you have to win. And all of those for the most part, 3 games in a row, and Broncos in the span of 17 days between them. So see how much fire the Broncos come out for that secondary game based on the conclusion of Thursday night's game. But I think you're mentioning of McDuffie. I think he and Snead, they had their hardest matchup of the month, and now it's the Broncos and Chargers, who don't have Chargers don't have Mike Williams, and the Broncos don't have whoever their main wide receiver is. I'm forgetting the name.
I think it was Tim Patrick. If I'm not mistaken.
I think so, or maybe somebody else. But
I seen Sutton out there. Sutton and Judy is still out there. So
okay.
I think Tim Patrick is one of those.
Yeah. I think he's got a lot up there. But then that's going to be tough. The a tough November, having that Dolphins game and then the Eagles after a bye. So hopefully they'll be well coached and ready for that Monday nighter against the Eagles. But this will be a tough divisional stretch the rest of this month, especially after a 4-day turnaround playing away. At least the Broncos had the benefit of playing at their home stadium. They don't have to travel back to their home tonight, or like you assume the Chiefs are attempting to do right now, because they don't get their normal rest and recouping that they would spend Monday and Tuesday for. They got to get right into practicing because they got a game to play. So that being said, since you weren't here when we kind of started with the offense, I'll let you kind of just spitball your offensive impressions.
Offensively, I got scared at first in the second quarter when it seemed like when Patrick Mahomes got hurt and a couple of passes was off as well too. However, I think we were able to capitalize. We were able to, get the wide receivers more involved in this game. Even though I think yardage wise with Tony, we didn't see a lot. However, I did see the moments. I did see when we get him on a quick passes, him being able to, get in open field, get a first down, just make those catches that, he was struggling with at the beginning of the season. It's like it feels like he's coming back into his normalcy, and I love to see that. But Travis, of course, was scared with that. Other than that, he had a solid performance as well too. He came back. He was definitely hot. Definitely was catching the ball. He had a big catch as well too, coming back into the game after they held him for a while in that first series. Had that big catch that was questionable. They thought it was a turnover, but he did hit the ground. He had sole possession of that. I think seeing that right there was a moment of like, okay, looks like he's good to go.
So prior to that, were you in the mindset like I was, like, oh my God, please just let him sit because we have a game in 4 days. Let's see how well he is for that, and don't even bother the rest of this game? Or were you in the mindset of, if he's ready, the Chiefs need him?
Truth be told, I honestly was almost scared for a season-ended injury. That's what I was about at the first. So honestly, I wasn't even worried about him coming to play in that Denver game. Didn't care. Don't want him to come back as soon as possible. Definitely off of something like that, just because this should be a game that we can win without Travis. And I always find the good in some things, good or bad. Not trying to be funny, but I was like, if Travis hurt, we got to see what we have with these rookies now and these wide receivers that we've been bragging about. So I was open to just like, let's see what we can do.
Spread them out.
Let's see what we have going on, because I always talked about and praised Rashid Rice with him being in the slot, because he's a guy who, once he gets into that zone coverage and he's in the hole, he doesn't hesitate to look back and get his head on the swivel. He's looking for Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball, and then he's looking to get upfield. And we saw, and he had a big catch that was on that last drive before we actually had a punt, but caught bare hands, got the first down, moved it upfield. That's what I wanted from him throughout the entire season. That's his part of the offense now. We was talking about people finding their parts of the offense. He found something that he can work with, because they like him. They like working him and Travis opposite of each other, because if you can have both of your zone abusers who know how to really operate and just move around with Patrick Mahomes, is getting out of pocket and find an area and just sit there, that's what you need. And then you work around that as well too. Justin Watson stepped up, had a big game, had some big catches. You wouldn't expect that from a guy like him. I know Chief Kingdom, we said, we should really move away from him. Now we might be talking about keeping him and moving away from MVS. He's a deep ball threat as well too. If you ain't gonna make your money and MVS don't watch this and get irritated, I'm just saying, you're fine, bro.
That's what we said. We said the same thing earlier, that, I mean, Justin Watson proved himself as at least a reliable guy, and if MVS is all he's doing is taking up snaps and blocking on running downs, then he doesn't need to be the main target. We saw Justin Ross finally get into a game and get catches. Hopefully he got his drop out of the way, one and only drop, and hopefully that's out of the way, just like it was for everybody else. it seems, this week. So hopefully
Yep.
that continuation of no drops.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on for the offense before we final
Feed
comments?
Pacheco more. Feed
Yep.
Pacheco more. Take away Clyde snaps. Clyde, nothing against you, brother, but like it seems like they're using him as a measuring stick sometimes to when the run game is not working. That's my excuse to go to the passing game. No,
Right.
Pacheco is your workhorse. You work around him. He's someone who gets 3 to 4 yards to carry. He's gonna make an easier second and third down for you. So play into that. We don't gotta pass all the time first on first down. Give it to
Right.
him, get 3 or 4, make it a 2nd and 6, 2nd and 4, something in that area, and then that's when you can take your deep ball shot because you know you can get 4 yards on any play anyway. But that's your time to where you can actually dial something up and see if we can get downfield. So just utilize him more. I think going forward we need to make it a 15 carry game for him. Take away the stats from Clyde, give those stats to McKinnon because he needs to start getting going for this last part of the season as well too. He needs to start getting into his playoff mode, getting ready to go because we're definitely going to need that experience. He's our best passing running back. We saw what was happening in this game against Brian Flores in that defense. He likes to send a lot of pressure. You see when they move him up a little bit more, like 3 or 4 yards behind the offensive line, he's ready to block. So if we're going to do that a lot more and we're going to see that type of pressure, if they feel that's what's going to stop Patrick Mahomes, well, he's going to need to get ready to have those more snaps. I love Pacheco. He's not as polished yet with doing it. He has the effort and always try to put his shoulder into somebody. But other than that, McKinnon, he got it for that. So take the snaps away from Clyde, feed Pacheco, get McKinnon out there more, and then have a balanced offense and we'll be okay.
Yeah. So Pacheco got 16 carries by the end of the game.
So okay.
Agree, he did not get as many of the carries as we would have liked in the first quarter and half, especially when he was already proven himself and that those carries would be worth it. And like you said, they switched to Clyde and oh no, the run suddenly stops working. So they had 21 total running plays, including the Kadarius Toney jet sweep for 1 yard. And 41 passing attempts. So 21 over 60, that's a third of the time. So the Chiefs are still opting to throw 2/3 of the time more. Yeah. And I don't think Andy Reid will ever decide to fall anywhere less than like a 60% pass to run deficit, whatever you want to call it. So I am in agreement with you if especially if you can't spread the ball out like you like to when you throw the ball at the beginning of the game to figure out your script. I think it should always just be hand the ball to Pacheco, and until he stops giving you 4 yards a carry, you keep feeding him. Maybe that's just the Madden player in me that's like, if it ain't broke, why would I stop doing it? But I mean,
if you want the pass game to be a part of the offense so bad, the screen game and the flat game is an extension of that as well too, or the quick screens. Pacheco, I think we were complaining about it last year with him not being, I think, as great as being a pass catching back. But honestly, I haven't seen no issues with him this year. He's actually attacking the ball a lot more when he's getting it. He's very aggressive on those catches. He's bringing them in, and then he's going into his run for him, and then he's getting yardage off of that as well too. It's just certain plays with Clyde. It's like, bro, Pacheco would have got 5 or 6 yards off of that at least. Just because he has the vision now, and that was something that he was lacking the beginning part of the year when he started off getting those more reps. You'll be like, if he just saw that a little bit more, go this hole. He's being a lot more patient. It was a play that they actually referred to him, Le'Veon Bell, because he got up and he was all inside of the lineman. He stopped for a little bit, like he literally
I saw that. He literally did not move. He was standing right next to his offensive lineman, like, now you go.
He was like, okay, let me see. Where can I go? So it's just being quick with your thought, having that vision as a running back. Clyde's just lacking that at this level right now, and it's kind of upsetting. He has moments, and I did praise him in the beginning of the season as well too, with us going into the year with him. So it's like, okay, come on now, it's not working
out. Do you
out.
think it's possible that he gets his own game to showcase, like we kind of expect a Kadarius Toney game to happen at some point?
Nah,
You just
not
think
right
he's just a
now.
guy, but you just think he's just a guy, and you think Andy Reid thinks he's just a guy too.
I think they're trying to just get him snaps to see if we can get some type of trade value out of him, to be honest. Can we work it up to a fifth at least when it comes to the trade deadline? Not to be rude, because we already declined his 5th year option as well, too. So he's free to be a free agent once the summer comes. He doesn't have to come back to Kansas City already. So if you can get him somewhere now, somewhere who needs a running back and he can showcase what he has, I think that's what they want to do. That's why they're trying to get him reps in this game as well too. Because think about it, in some moments, it's like, why did you go to him?
But 2 running backs, though, there's no way the Chiefs would be that
No,
ballsy to only keep 2
no,
running
but
backs.
we still got that. We still got Perrine. He's on a 53-man roster as well too. So and he also is activated and is in the game. He's on special teams. That's the guy who had a solid preseason, number 29. I'm fine with him. I like his game. He reminds me of his brother or cousin who plays for the Broncos, who played against us when he was with the Bengals and had a big game on us. He can come in at certain moments to where it's like, okay, we got 3 or 4 yard game at the end of the game. Say it's like, a 2-score game, 3-score game. They want to preserve Isaiah Pacheco, McKinnon, just because we can work without that anyway. The Chiefs are more of a passing team. He can come in, get those flats, probably get a screen in there, get 5 to 6 yards and make a play. I'm fine with it. We might as well have someone like that, because if Pacheco and McKinnon is going to be our main options, I mean, they're going to take the bulk of the reps anyway. So if you're only expecting 5 to 6 reps from someone like Clyde, you might as well do it with Perrine, in my opinion.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I
No,
just
no,
think
I
it'd
get you.
be
I know the probing questions, like seeing
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
why would you do it?
I mean,
Yeah,
to be fair, you are not incorrect in that thinking, because the stats just aren't lining up.
yeah,
I just don't think the Chiefs think that way about Clyde. Even now, even despite all we're seeing, I still
yeah.
think they love him to a degree, and he was their first round
First
pick
round
that
pick.
they did from winning the Super Bowl. So that's
Mm-hmm.
a story they're never going to forget. So, maybe they're just going to do the amicable thing and let his contract run out and see if his NFL career continues after that. But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
guess
I
I
don't.
can't hold it against Brett Veach to find a trade if it's out there. I'm not getting that impression, so
Maybe
we'll see.
they're not getting calls.
Because the trade deadline is a little earlier than most points in time. It is three
3 weeks.
3 weeks from now. It is like officially Halloween 3 p.m. Arrowhead time.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the rest of the month slash the 3 divisional games we already mentioned in a row
Yep.
to figure out if and what needs this team still has. And Andy says, Brett Beach, go get me this piece that can for sure get us
Yeah.
over the hump. Because it doesn't matter what our roster looks like now. They're always going to reassess right before the trade deadline, figure out
Yeah.
if and what they could do, and make sure they got the best roster possible. Make sure it is a Super Bowl winning roster.
And I truly think they'll trade him away for like additional future picks as well too. Just because it's like at this point, I feel y'all, because I was on that wave. It's like, if we get to trade them, like yeah, he might be on the roster for the rest of the season just because he
I
was
just
a
thought it
first
would have
round
happened
pick.
already.
I
I
feel you,
just,
but I feel you. I feel you. I feel you.
yeah, I felt it would have happened already. It would have happened preseason, or frankly last season prior to his getting injured and Pacheco taking the reign 100%. But the writing was on the wall even back then, and if I just don't think anybody's willing to give them a resource that they they think is worth it. I mean, maybe they're getting
Percentage.
offered like a 2026 7th round pick, and they're like,
Yeah.
no, we'll still take whatever his production is this year. I don't know. I'm not in the front
I,
office. So.
this is why I say I think 70% chance he doesn't get traded. Only reason why I'm on the higher side of him staying is just because we're weird in some ways. Sometimes we see things in these players, and the organization and the coaching staff see way differently. And then honestly, the last couple of years we've been proven wrong, especially winning 2 Super Bowls and all that stuff as well too. So the moves that they had made has worked out at least, right? I mean, they've been in 3 out of 4
Hmm.
Super Bowls, missing only one of those. So I mean, at the same time, I understand this. That's just from the fan perspective. I put it like that, honestly. Just seeing what we have done in the future as well too. It's like, I mean, in the past, excuse me, not the future. Um, I I feel like they want it, like he wants to get something out of it. I feel, but at the end of the day, if he just steps it up, maybe we see something in this next couple of weeks to where if he was able to get that trade value, we might be like, nah, this is something we can use at the end of the season in the playoffs experience.
Yep.
Leaving him out there with the team we got now. May
Right.
I'll be fine. I'm cool if he stay. Just shift
I mean,
the
don't
reps.
forget we've already seen a Clyde Edwards-helaire game in a Chiefs uniform, so it has happened.
Mhm.
Will it happen again?
Who
Who
knows?
knows? But it's happened. So maybe that's constantly going through their head is they got all the proof they need from that one game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we've gone quite a bit. Do you have any final thoughts about this Minnesota game before a very quick 4-day turnaround where we'll be right back doing this same thing again?
Well, I understand that we were all upset with the defense for some part of the game. However, I think they were able to, come through and still hold it out. I definitely think we'll see a better performance next week against the Denver Broncos. I feel like they have a solid outing. Offensively, let's just find that perfect balance that we can go with throughout the entire season. Let's mix the running well with the passing game. Let's make the passing game an extension of the running game. Let's just get our running backs out there, Pacheco, McKinnon. If you want to sprinkle in a little cloth in there, that's fine as well too. But just let's make sure those reps are worth it, and let's get something out of it as well too. I can see the wide receivers. I feel like they're going to be getting into it very soon. I think he's trying to find the perfect mix of what he wants out there, and if we can actually get a little bit more to Rice, a little bit more of Ross, Watson out there a lot more, if he's going to be that guy that's more dependable for Patrick Mahomes, do it. But
Right.
Kelsey, he's going to get his, but let's try to preserve that as well too. Let's try to
Yep.
not make him the key focal point of our offense. Let's get
Yep.
everyone involved. Let's be what we expected to be coming into this season. So,
Yep.
I'm glad it's winning is a win. We got sole possession of first place in the AFC now, so that's a
Right.
good thing. We're
We're the
fine.
only one of
Only
two
one.
AFC teams with only one loss. So
Yep.
and if we continue to hold that, we can fix that by playing the only other team. So we can
Yep.
be firmly planted at the top of the AFC
Yep.
already mid-season. So hoping for that.
Yep.
I want the running backs to get theirs. Keep up the gadget plays. Keep up the jet sweeps. Keep up the Isaiah Pacheco Wildcat plays. Like get weird with it. Make sure you're getting yards constantly, moving forward. So make defenses not even think about Mahomes like dropping back and throwing deep. The thing they're constantly scared of all the time.
Yeah.
Just feed every player on the team. Mix it up. Make the defense have to defend the entire field, every single player on the offense. Make them guess, and we'll see how that turns out. And they have a quick 4 days to do that.
Yep. And I'm going to have to get back to work quick. Article and video. Very quickly.
Yep. You got to get to work. So we'll go ahead and shut this off so you got enough time to go start.
All right.
Okay. People, thank you all so much for tuning in or listening to the replay on whatever platform you're listening. Please like, follow, share, comment, interact. Tell us you love us and that you love this crazy, stupid game that we love too. And Swifties, I'm rooting for you guys. You need to get on the No More Turf bandwagon, so that stuff can be out of all the NFL. The rest, the last season, we don't want Travis Kelce, Mr. Taylor Swift himself, to be injured. That would not look good on the NFL. They've had a lot of their players get injured on turf before, and it hasn't stopped them. But we can keep hoping. So, thank you all. I hope you have a great night or a great commute next day or whenever you're listening to us. As always, go Chiefs.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs. Red Kingdom Media.